If you are watching this, I didn't make it home. I want those words to be the first thing you hear, because that truth changes how the rest of this letter lands. My name was Michael Carter, and I am writing to you from the only place I can now, a place where regret has no volume control. I know how strange that sounds, but this is the only way I can tell you what happened and why I need you to listen. The night started like any other Friday after a long week at work, with one shallow victory, the small ritual of turning the key and feeling the engine settle beneath me. I had plans I would forget, a podcast I would half listen to, and a daughter waiting for pancakes on Saturday morning. I had had a couple of beers with a coworker, nothing cinematic or stupid, just the kind of social thing that feels harmless in the moment. I told myself I was fine to drive. I told myself I was careful, and I told myself I would be extra vigilant on the road. I remember the highway lights like scattered stars turned down low, and the radio playing something I half knew and didn't care about. I remember the phone in my pocket buzzing once, and then again, like a small, insistent animal I did not want to ignore. I read the text while the car was moving, just a glance, a second stolen for a reply that felt urgent. I typed a one-line answer because I thought I could be both present on the road and present in that tiny conversation. For a moment, nothing felt wrong. Then the world rearranged itself faster than any thought could settle. A truck 2 lanes over moved like a slow tidal breath, and a puddle appeared where the street had been dry seconds before. My hands tightened, the wheel pulled like a magnet. I remember the dashboard light catching like a single, cruel witness. I do not want to describe the sound of metal or the bloom of glass. Those details live on the other side now, and they do not help you drive safer. They only carve open memory in the wrong way. What I must tell you is this: I made a decision I thought was small. That small decision costs more than I could ever imagine. I did not die instantly. I had time enough, cruelly, to realize how much I had failed to protect the people I loved. There is a moment between thinking and understanding where life holds its breath. In that moment, I wanted to reach for my wife's hand and tell her everything would be okay, but my body did not obey. If you are my friend, my neighbor, or my sister reading this, forgive me for the selfishness of the choice that put us here. If you are my little girl, Lucy, who made me a paper crown last week and told me I was the best dragon in the whole world, know that I loved your crown more than anything. There are things I have to own, and this is where the owning begins. I was distracted, I was overconfident. I treated rules like suggestions and luck like an ally. I used to say, half joking, that fate ends up on whoever's steering. I was wrong. Fate does not pick. We do. If you are watching because you want to understand how a life collapses, it is not in one loud crash. It is in dozens of quiet compromises. The extra cup of coffee, the last text, the 5 extra minutes you give yourself on a dark road. I am not asking you to remember me as perfect. I am asking you to remember the exact opposite, as someone whose error could have been avoided. I want the legalities known. There was no maliciousness, no illegal racing, no intentional harm. There was a choice made in a fraction of time, a glance, a breath, a tilt toward convenience. My wife will heal in ways I cannot imagine, and she will hate me in private and forgive me in public, because that is how people survive what I took from them. My parents will bury me and then find themselves speaking my name into empty rooms, asking how a life full of small joys turned into a sentence that begins with, "If you are watching this." If this letter reads like a confession, it is because it is. I confess to being human in the weakest possible way. I want to talk about the things nobody says in the ambulance bay or the lawsuit paperwork. I want to say that grief sits in the quiet parts of the house, in the sugar jar, in the shoes left by the door, in the playlist that still has songs we never finished. There will be anger, there will be questions, there will be dollars exchanged and judgments given. None of those things bring people back. None of them stitch together the small hand that will miss mine at the school play. If there is a lesson you can take from my failing, it is this: acknowledge how fast a second can move a life. Please stop thinking a text can wait, that a quick reply is worth a child's future, a parent's breath, or another person's homecoming. Forgive me for the times I judged other drivers in my head and thought their mistakes were separate from me. We are all closer to each other on the road than comfortable to admit. The selfishness of one affects the lives of many. If you are a parent, teach your kids that driving is not a right but a responsibility. If you are a young person, remember that immortality is an illusion, and a few seconds of attention now can buy decades for someone else. I do not want you to live under a cloud of fear because of my words. I want you to take small, practical steps. Put the phone on Do Not Disturb. Wear the belt. Choose to rest when tired. And never convince yourself that it won't happen to me. There are elegant, practical things to change, and there are hard, human things to change too. Admitting that you are tired, that you are angry, that you are late, and then choosing to stop is bravery disguised as inconvenience. I know that the algorithms will chew up stories like mine and spit out headlines, so I will ask for something simple. Do not let this be just another headline. Let it be a promise you make to someone you love. Let it be the moment you decide to be the driver your family deserves. I want to ask forgiveness from strangers, because my shame is wide and cannot be contained. I want to ask forgiveness from the families whose lives intersected mine in ways they did not choose. If my death becomes a cautionary tale, then let it have purpose. If my absence is a wound, Let it teach you how to bandage the wounds of others by changing your choices. To my wife, tell Lucy I love the way she tucked her hair behind her ear when she thought no one watched. To my parents, do not let my mistake be the last story you tell at dinner. Tell stories of my stubborn kindness, my terrible jokes, my Sunday pancakes. I am not writing these things to find absolution. I am writing them because, out of the ruins of my era, someone should be spared the same sunrise of sorrow. If you work in policy, in law, in the company that makes the apps we look at while we drive help us build systems that make it harder to be distracted. If you are a friend, call the people you love and make them promise to put the phone away when they are behind the wheel. There is one practical request I make to anyone who sees this. Talk about seatbelts, talk about rest, and talk about the times you almost didn't stop for a reason that now feels ridiculous. Make the conversation normal, make it constant, make it louder than the quiet excuses we tell ourselves. When I close my eyes, I see a highway of decisions laid out like tiles. Some were small and harmless, but one was enough to topple everything. Choose the tile you step on with care. The nervousness you feel before a drive is not your enemy, it is your conscience calling you to be better. If any of you think this is a story about punishment, you are wrong. This is a story about responsibility. I do not want to be the lesson you scroll past. I want to be the memory that changes the way you handle your phone, your speed, your drink, your fatigue. At the end of my life, I think about the small things I didn't do, the museum I kept postponing, the apology I left unsaid, the afternoon with my daughter that I traded for just one more hour. Regret is heavy in a way no exercise can fix, and I carry that weight now for those who survive me. So please, if you have 5 seconds right now, open the settings on your phone and turn on Do Not Disturb for driving. If you have 1 minute, call your partner and ask them to promise they'll never text and drive. If you have more time, tell someone this story and mean it. Make it a reason to change a habit you thought trivial. I wish I could have done more to keep myself safe. I wish I had listened to the small voice that told me to wait. This letter is my last attempt to reach beyond what I broke. It is imperfect, but it is mine. When you finish listening, do 2 things for me and for the people who loved me. Close your phone and then hug someone. Tell them you love them out loud and promise to come home. If you are a creator or a channel that shares stories like mine, help us not sensationalize the pain. Tell the truth, show the consequence, and then give people a simple, actionable step they can take. I imagine light now without sound, the kind of peace people talk about in stories. I do not know what comes next, and I will not pretend I do. But in this small request, I can be useful, be present. Let presence be your compass on the road. Thank you for hearing these words. Thank you for not letting them vanish into the noise. If my absence can spare one family from a similar silence, then something here will have mattered. Michael Carter.